Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller-Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. Alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. Rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. Indiana's near-total abortion ban went into effect Thursday. That means, aside from a few limited exceptions, the state is returning to the pre-Roe days.
I don't want anybody else to have to go through what I went through and what other women went through in the 60s.
Abortion rights supporters vow to keep fighting to overturn the state's new law. The Waldron Arts Center is getting a new lease on life as Constellation Stage and Screen take over control of the building and give it a facelift.
How do we complement the architecture of this building, but also make it feel fresh and bring young faces to theater again? And
the first new production in the building is just a month away. And we visit Mitchell, where the Lawrence County town is gearing up for the 75th annual Persimmon Festival. We'll have these stories, plus the latest news from across the state, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. A group of abortion rights supporters and service providers spoke at a vigil outside the Monroe County Courthouse Wednesday, a day before a near-total abortion ban went into effect in Indiana.
Everyone deserves to have a choice and a voice.
Jessica Marchbank of All Options Pregnancy Resource Center says more than 1,300 people have called the Hoosier Abortion Fund since April seeking access to resources.
Hundreds of Hoosiers every single month. They contact us because they need an abortion and they're having trouble accessing it.
Marchbank says her organization is deepening ties with out-of-state groups for transportation and hotels that provide abortion services. Now, co-chair of Hoosier Jews for Choice, Ellie Cohen, says her group is focusing on voter registration.
SB1 comes from a very particular Christian perspective that goes against Jewish belief and our Jewish practices and tradition. And in that sense, this bill restricts our religious freedom, right, to practice.
And she says the vigil was meant to be an opportunity for people to not only grieve, but also come together for political empowerment. We're joined now by Bente Boutier, who has been working on a story about the history of reproductive access in Indiana. Welcome to the show, Bente. You know, I know you did a lot of digging at the state archives. What'd you find?
Thanks, Joe. Indiana's first abortion legislation went on the books in the 1800s, setting punishment for performing an abortion at a year in county jail and a $500 fine. But between 1973 and 1975, Governor Otis Bowen received 44 letters, all asking him to support legislation against abortion access. After Roe, most legislative sessions saw some legislation introduced trying to restrict access. I also spoke with medical experts and a woman who had an illegal abortion before Roe. Here's what they had to say. A student at Purdue in 1969, Jude Wilkinson found out she was pregnant from a doctor she'd gone to asking for birth control. She had tried to get birth control from a doctor on campus previously, but was denied because she wasn't married.
I knew I couldn't raise this baby. And I knew there was a way. I wanted to find a way. And my only other option was to go to New York, which I didn't know anybody out there, but that probably would have been my second choice.
Wilkinson learned of another student who was also pregnant, who was from Indianapolis and knew the name of someone who did abortions there. They went to a 3-story White House near the Old Winona Memorial Hospital, south of 38th Street.
When we walked into the house, there were several women, and they had folding chairs, card table chairs, around what was the living room, what would have been the living room. And we sat and waited, and he called us up one at a time.
She remembers an exam table with stirrups upstairs. She didn't get any anesthetic when her uterus was scraped.
And the pain was excruciating. And I had a literal out-of-body experience where I was watching from the ceiling at myself. I closed my eyes and I was watching at the ceiling at myself, and just waiting for it to be over.
Wilkinson started to hemorrhage when she got back to campus. She saw a doctor and told him she'd miscarried. The doctor didn't believe her and asked for the name of her abortionist.
He said, if you tell me the name of the doctor, he said, I will know whether or not it was a reputable procedure. And so I told him, and he said, yep. He said, this guy is known for not killing people.
He gave her antibiotics and told her to rest. Indiana has only one recorded death from a botched abortion. That happened in 1988. But Dr. Filipescu, who practiced as an OB/GYN for nearly 40 years, thinks many more people in Indiana have died while trying to end a pregnancy.
Indiana should be focused on improving maternal mortality, not on restricting the reproductive rights of girls and women.
He testified last month at the State House, before they passed Senate Bill 1. He says deaths connected to an abortion wouldn't necessarily be recorded as that, but as the illnesses women technically died from afterwards.
We had one girl that came in that had been treated with some type of an instrument and was bleeding, and she was severely infected and later died from pelvic inflammatory disease.
He told state lawmakers that a ban would not stop abortions from happening.
And that's what I'm so concerned about, as so many other doctors that testified did. It's just unfortunate that people, mostly men in the legislature, are making decisions affecting women. And I think that, to me, is the worst part of the whole thing.
A lot has happened for Wilkinson since 1969. She's given birth to and raised 2 children, and she got a law degree. Now she works remotely. She likes art and loves her cat.
But I don't understand legislatures dictating to me my decision between me and my doctor.
She's also a cancer patient and joined a protest against the abortion ban at the State House despite the risks it posed to her health.
2, 4, 6, 8, separate the church and state.
She says she's tired of women having to fight.
I don't think it's fair. 50 years. 50 years. We had a right, and now it's gone.
A lawsuit filed by 4 abortion providers in the state challenging the law will be heard Monday in the Monroe County Circuit Court. They argue the law's ban on abortion clinics is unlawful discrimination under the state constitution.
All right, thanks, Benta. And the abortion issue ban is not going away soon. Here to talk more about what the future holds is Shruti Rana, a professor of law at the Hamilton Luger School and the Maurer School of Law. Welcome to the show, Professor.
Thank you.
So, and you've been a vocal opponent of the law, testifying at the State House, speaking out on panels. Why is this so important to you?
This law is just devastating. For the first time, a constitutional right has been stripped away, and we know that the consequences of this law will be devastating throughout Indiana. We know that women and pregnant people will die. We know that fundamental human and civil constitutional rights are all at risk. We know that over half of our population has had its equal citizenship denied under the law, and many more rights are at risk. And so I think really, as an American, I have an obligation to support the Constitution and our democracy. As a lawyer, I have an obligation to support the rule of law. And as a mother, I have an obligation to protect our children and fight for our future. And this law places all of that at risk.
Now, there's a couple suits against the state over the ban, including one filed here in Monroe County. What are they challenging?
So they are challenging the law on equal protection and discrimination grounds, basically saying barring people from exercising bodily autonomy and privacy over their reproductive health choices is a violation of both the Indiana and federal constitution.
So we know Senator Lindsey Graham proposing a federal ban if the GOP gains control of Congress. Do you see that having a chance?
I think it's very possible. As the Congress is currently constituted, I don't think it would pass, but if the composition of Congress changes even just slightly, I think there's a very good chance that ban could pass. In the Senate, you only need 2 or 3 seats to flip. In the House, you only need about 5 or 6 seats to flip. And if those 2 things happen, I think it's very possible for such a ban to be passed.
Just looking ahead to elections this fall, any effect do you think overturning of Roe will have?
Yeah, right now we think that the decision in Dobbs and overturning Roe has really been electrifying for particularly women and young people. We know that they're going to the polls in much larger numbers. They are saying that abortion is at the top of their list for the important issues that they are voting on. They're worried about their constitutional and human rights. They're worried about their future. So we do think it'll have a big impact. The scope of these changes are quite unique and largely unprecedented. So the data we have is really hard to read because the people who are out there coming out to vote on these issues, many of them are people who don't traditionally vote, and our models are based on the people who traditionally vote. So I think a lot is up for grabs. I think there's a lot that's changing, and we'll see what happens on Election Day.
We just have under 30 seconds left. Senate postponed a vote on codifying same-sex marriage after midterms. You concerned that could be overturned as well?
Yes, I do. The decision in Dobbs placed marriage equality at risk as well. And so I think, again, if the composition of the Senate and the House changes, then I think there's a chance this bill can pass.
All right. We have to leave it there. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. Well, members of the Biden administration joined Governor Eric Holcomb and Senator Todd Young at Purdue University this week to tout the investments of the CHIPS Act. Ben Thorpe has this report.
The CHIPS Act, passed through Congress in July, puts more than $50 billion towards bolstering the semiconductor industry in the U.S. Semiconductor chips are used in numerous electronic devices, including phones, TVs, and even cars.
When other countries see us coming together in the way we've been able to come together with the CHIPS Act, not just across parties, but across academia, industry, government at the state level, the federal level, that sends a very powerful message.
Indiana Senator Todd Young said producing computer chips in the U.S. is crucial to the nation's security.
Basically, all of our high-end weapon platforms require very sophisticated computer chips, and we need to make those here, ensure that they're made in a trusted fashion, not tampered with.
Governor Eric Holcomb said in 5 to 10 years, the idea of a Silicon Heartland manufacturing hub in the Midwest is not a stretch.
And the state of Indiana is putting our money where our mouth is and making those investments regionally to be able to respond to the needs of not just the industry, but of the community.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Ben Thorpe.
We're joined now by Holden Absher for the latest headlines from around the state. Hi, Holden.
Thank you, Joe. A campus-wide email from the IU provost announced plans they say would improve quality of life for graduate student workers. IU Bloomington is waiving a fee it charged international graduate workers, which was one of the key demands of the Graduate Workers Coalition, a union that remains unrecognized by the trustees. IU also plans to offer a standardized sick day policy and improved grievance procedures and a new advisory committee.
We still have some real questions about the permanence of these, though how we can ensure that the administration will stay accountable to giving us fair working conditions.
The Graduate Workers Coalition is set to vote on whether to strike on the 25th. And despite these concerns, the coalition says recognition is necessary to avoid another strike. A new exhibit at IU's Lilly Library pays tribute to Sherlock Holmes, perhaps one of the most renowned fictional detectives of all time. Sarah Molina has this report.
The exhibition is titled Sherlock Holmes in 221 Objects, the 221 referring to Holmes's residence at 221B Baker Street in London. Associate Director of Lilly Library and Exhibit Coordinator Erica Dowell says after seeing a similar exhibition in New York, she knew she had to bring it to the Midwest.
It showcases what is probably 3 or 4 decades of collecting important books about Sherlock Holmes.
The exhibition features bibliographic rarities, books, manuscripts, artwork, and more. While the exhibit attracts Holmes enthusiasts first, people who are unfamiliar with the books, movies, and the character are encouraged to explore. The objects in the collection are from private collector Glenn Moranker.
Sherlock Holmes is such an important figure in, in our culture that I think that draws in a whole variety of people. But what's special about this one is that it's focusing particularly on the amazing collections from this private individual.
The library has hosted 2 other Sherlock Holmes exhibitions in the past, but neither had as many rarities or as big of a presence in the community as this one does. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Sarah Molina.
Now that exhibit runs through December 16th. The Indianapolis-based Regan Streif Institute is receiving $9 million from the Centers for Disease Control to study COVID patients whose symptoms last longer than 4 weeks. For most people, COVID-19 symptoms last 1 or 2 weeks. Other survivors continue to experience symptoms months or even years after testing negative for the virus.
In order to care for and ensure the health of people with COVID, who've had COVID, we want to study those long-term effects in greater detail.
CDC data shows that nearly 20% of COVID survivors in America are still experiencing long COVID symptoms. Mental health advocates are warning Indiana college students about the dangers of binge drinking and its link to poor mental health. In a recent survey, nearly a fifth of Indiana college students reported drinking to get away from their problems, and about a quarter say they felt bad about their drinking.
There weren't the massive parties that there are because of COVID, but students were drinking alone or drinking with one other person. So the drinking continued.
Hutchison says there's understandably been focus on opioids, but alcohol is still, in her words, the most widely used drug. Supply chain issues are delaying the transfer of inmates to the new Vigo County Jail. The new jail between Terre Haute's Honey Creek Mall and the wastewater treatment plant was supposed to open in July. Terre Haute Mayor Duke Bennett says it's now likely to open sometime in October.
And they can't put the prisoners in there until they know they control the heat and cooling and the fire alarm systems are all working properly.
The County 911 Center is still in the basement of the current jail. Commissioners have hired a consultant to recommend what to do with that facility. And that's all we have for headlines this week, Joe. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Holden. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk.
Constellation Stage and Screen is taking over the lease of the Waldron Arts Center and is giving the building a makeover. And one annual event at Mitchell's Persimmon Festival will predict what kind of winter Hoosiers should expect.
These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
Your favorite member benefit is getting better and bigger.
This is wonderful.
Over the next year, Passport is adding new shows and doubling the number of episodes for you to stream.
They give us all that they've got.
From your favorite cooking and travel series.
Even the stairs are breathtaking.
To history specials and award-winning documentaries. Better and bigger.
That really is the fun part.
Stream on any device with Passport on the PBS Video app.
Wake up.
Wake up to the world.
To the marvels. The mayhem.
The music.
Wake up to the wows. The woes.
The wonder.
Wake up to the commotion. To the beauty.
To the humanity.
To the hope. Wake up every morning. Fully awake.
NPR Morning Edition.
Tune in to your local station or download the NPR app.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Well, earlier this summer, Constellation Screen and Stage took over as the new tenants of the Waldron Arts Center. Since then, they've been renovating the interior and will begin productions next month. Pat Bean has the story.
David Wade is splattering paint around the stage in the Waldron Arts Center's Weikart Auditorium.
We're getting ready to install The Importance of Being Earnest, which is the second show of the season, and today is painting the floor. Lots of paint, lots of paint.
Wade is the charge artist for Constellation Screen and Stage. The Bloomington production company signed a 5-year lease with the city earlier this year to run the building. And while Wade and others are readying the auditorium with new flooring, lighting, and seating, there's plenty of work going on downstairs on the main level. A big change will be a large reception area.
This is going to be a really great experience for the audiences to come in and have the luxury of having a second space to be in other than just the house of the theater. Yeah, it's going to be nice.
Constellation is the latest tenant in the building, which was built in 1915 to house City Hall and the fire department. In 1964, the city offices moved out and the Bloomington Police Department moved in. BPD remained in the building until 1985, and the property was deeded to the Bloomington Arts Council in 1990. That year, it was renamed the John Waldron Arts Center. The space was used for galleries, classrooms, performances, and offices until 2010, when Ivy Tech took over and used it as an educational institution. Last year, Ivy Tech returned the building to the city. The city decided to keep it an arts facility, and this summer sank $500,000 in structural repairs and a new HVAC system into the Waldron. In July, it was leased to Constellation.
We took care of repairing the guts of the building, and Constellation is bringing the bling.
Constellation was created with the merger of 3 local production companies: Bloomington Playwrights Project, Cardinal Stage, and Pegasus Institute.
This group really just has that expertise to say, hey, we know what a theater patron needs to be able to come into this space and not just see a performance, but like actually enjoy the performance without being like squished up in a seat like this, because the seating there is like, oh God.
Constellation contracted with Third Eye Designs and Rubicon Construction to bring that bling. The new lobby and reception area, ticket office, and staircase are the vision of Third Eye's Allie Powell.
How do we complement the architecture of this building, but also make it feel fresh and bring young faces to theater again? And we thought Great Gatsby meets modern times, kind of fuse them together.
But before her vision could come to life, the century-old structure required a fair amount of cosmetic work, taking out a beam, shoring up the frame, dealing with old masonry, all while working around a large safe.
Well, you can see this is the old bank, one of the old bank vault doors. So this was a very difficult feat to blow out. We weren't even sure we were going to be able to do it without compromising the integrity of the building.
The vault will be utilized in the design of the ticket office. It's just off the main reception area, which will be in what was once the mayor's office.
And what's really cool is there was this glass window that still said mayor's office on it from when it originally was, so we're keeping that. It's actually over here on the floor. I'm going to try to incorporate that in the design somewhere.
The other part of the initial renovation project is downstairs, where the old firehouse is being transformed into the Fire Bay Theater. It's getting improved flooring, new lights, and an audio system. Kevin Powell is one of the owners of Rubicon Construction, which is overseeing the project.
Yeah, I've had people stop by and kind of give me the history and what they knew about it, from showing me where they used to hang the old canvas fire lines so they could dry out between runs, and about cisterns that are under the floor.
Back upstairs in the auditorium, Wade is going about his business, splattering green paint on the floor to look like grass. And when the 2 theaters in the Waldron are in use, they will join the Ted Jones Playhouse and the Buzzkirk Chumley Theater as local venues for performances.
For theater artists like myself, this is great to have a space to do this kind of stuff. And to have, different venues to play in is really very fun.
That fun is scheduled to begin next month. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Pat Bean.
Mitchell is gearing up to celebrate its 75th Persimmon Festival. The week-long celebration has concerts, crafts, queen contests, and more. Kayan Terra has this report.
Puxatawny has a weather predicting groundhog, but in Mitchell, it's the persimmon seed that is used to forecast the weather. Every year, a persimmon seed is cut open, and the shape seen inside is meant to predict the type of winter Indiana will have. It's one of the highlights of the Persimmon Festival, which is held in the last full week of September when persimmon fruit begins to fall from trees.
When you cut a seed open, if you find a spoon inside the seed, that means we're going to be scooping a lot of snow. If you find a knife, it's going to be bitterly cold and cutting, so that represents the knife, and the fork is going to be kind of a mild forecast.
The first Persimmon Festival was in 1947 when educator George Bishop planned a small 2-day festival as a homecoming for those native to Mitchell. One of the persimmon trees near the Mitchell Public Library is over 75 years old, and there's an image of Bishop standing next to it. Bishop's daughter, Diana Bishop Chastain, will be the Grand Marshal of the parade this year.
It's a homecoming. Everybody comes back home. It's a fun time. And when you grow up here, you know, you find your favorite place to sit and watch the parade, and you go there every year. So it's about traditions.
For Indiana News Desk, I'm Kayan Tara.
And Indiana's football team is at home for a third straight weekend to open the season, and the Hoosiers are looking to make it 3 wins in a row as they face Western Kentucky Saturday. It'll be the third start for quarterback Connor Bazelak. The Missouri transfer has won the team's confidence with his even-keeled demeanor on the field.
I think the benefit is the fact that he's able to flush it. You know, he doesn't get, you know, overly excited when he makes a play because he's got to go make another play. He doesn't get down when he doesn't make a play because he's got to go, you know, find a way to make another play.
IU beat Western Kentucky by 2 points last season. Well, that's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana News Desk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. lawmg.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.